Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time featuring killerKoala in your top left corner playing the red Terran, and in your bottom right we have Butcher playing the red Protoss. We are on Ohana. Red versus blue leads me to believe strongly that this is on the latter. Ohana is one of the newer maps. I'm not super familiar with it. I am familiar enough to tell you that it's got a small ramp leading down to the natural, easy to take due to the destructible debris, and larger, more like a middle-sized ramp leading down into the common ground. It's super wide, and it's just awesome for Zerg because you get this just incredible place to get surrounds and multiple pathways to take advantage of. Unfortunately, this is a Terran versus Protoss, so we're not going to see any of that. We're going to see some really boring stuff like incredible tech play and micro and nice expansions and such like that. If we see multiple expansions, we'll see them to take out these destructible debris, which allow them early access to the third, kind of taking out the long walk that you would have to take normally in order to reinforce that position. We can see that both players right now are macroing up, following along the traditional building path, which is the barracks at the front door, 2 supply depots on either side to wall it off completely. And then we see Butcher not bothering to wall off. You know, it's Protoss against Terran. It's not like a bunch of Zerglings are going to show up to run by, but you could have Hellions later on. So it's really a personal choice in that matter. Pylon right down by the main, and then a gateway very, very close to the nexus. It's going to be interesting to see how much, if any, gas Butcher decides to take. We can see that he's grabbed 1 already, so we're going to see at least a little bit of tech come out of Butcher. At the same time, killerKoala has already grabbed his first gas, so a little bit of a lead as far as tech goes, a little bit of a deficit as far as mineral goes. Is it actually going to be a difference? No, absolutely not. This is just personal flair right now, and as both build orders progress, we'll see the differential just widen. You know, we're going to see exactly which, if any, side the other player falls on. Do they side on tech? Do they side on units? Do they side on macro? Do they side on a one-base play? These are the things that really differentiate players. You know, that's why everybody loves Hydras, because you wind up with these enormous armies, and you wind up with these magnificent displays of micro, and you don't wind up with a bunch of BM like you see from people like Combat. It's really just what you're known for. Cybernetics core coming out from Butcher as I stop rambling, and we have a warp gate tap getting started. We can see that he's saved up 1 chrono boost. 2 chrono boosts are going to go down on that warp gate tech. It's super important to get that out early, especially whenever your opponent's building 2 barracks up in his main base. We're going to see multiple Marines come out. The Terran ability to throw down mules really aids them in their mining of a lot of resources. We can see that even though the harvester count is neck and neck, killerKoala is currently hosting a 100-point lead because of those mules that he can throw down. That single mule can harvest up to 300 minerals in its short lifespan, and that translates directly into these little guys, these Marines, and that field presence that they can bolster with those multiple barracks can really translate into early aggression. It can translate into early map control, both of which are very, very important. Even though you can have a lot of Marines on the field, a Stalker is an excellent choice against them. Stalkers are fast, they've got excellent range, and they can kite Marines almost indefinitely. We can see 3-gate into Robo for Butcher, Immortals, Observers, Warp Prisms. All of these are excellent choices in this map. Warp Prisms especially, the rush distance is very large on this map, and Warp Prisms do a lot to lessen that rush distance, allow you to put pressure on the front door as soon as you get units. It's just incredible. We can see killerKoala has managed to sneak a Marine into the natural expand. Does not see an expansion, so he's worried about a lot of early units, but we only have a single Zealot at the front door, which means that Butcher hasn't started to build out units. So what is he building? What is the tech choice? killerKoala sees that a robotics facility is going down. It's just now finished, and the 3-gate, a pretty standard 3-gate into Robo. That first unit is almost always an observer. I recently casted a game where it was a couple of Immortals first, but that observer is incredibly powerful just because of its ability to see almost everything that's going on in the field. You can key it so it follows the army, you can key it so it follows the tech. One way or another, it can really tell you exactly what's going on. And what's going on for Butcher is he's gearing up to do a lot of aggression. That 3-gate is going to allow him to throw down a lot of units at the pylons, and then that Robo's allowing him to get out some Immortals early, which are incredibly powerful against Marauders. We can see there's quite a lot of barracks coming down for killerKoala. He's throwing down another one, but he's got 2 tech labs cranking out upgrades, 1 combat shield and 1 stem, while he's putting pressure on the front door, forcing Butcher to cancel that expansion. He does have a large force, but with that sentry, he can throw down a force field behind killerKoala's main army, denying them their ability to kite away, do that kind of stop micro, which can really cause a lot of problem to Protoss units, especially Zealots. So Butcher cleans up this initial aggression. killerKoala manages to salvage a couple of the units that were rallied down, but his inability to take an expansion behind that aggression, his inability to do a lot of damage, has placed him a little bit behind on the units lost tab as well as on the economy. Even though they're pretty much neck and neck, you really expect Terran to be ahead at this point in the game. You can see level 1 ground damage is going to be finishing up for killerKoala, as well as the combat shield. So both of those upgrades are going to aid him as Butcher shifts into the aggressor role. At the same time, we can see that both players are floating a large amount of resources. Butcher's throwing down 2 more gateways, which is going to allow him to continuously warp in units in these pylons that are close to killerKoala's front door. This observer is successfully sighting the high ground, allowing the multiple stalkers to shoot units from the ground, denying the ability for killerKoala to coax those units up onto the high ground. However, those Marauders are so tough with the successful stem, he pushes back the stalkers all the way back to the pylons, forcing them to retreat and costing them quite a lot of minerals. With the stalkers moving forward and the warp-ins going down on the multiple pylons, Butcher successfully pushes back killerKoala while he waits for another round of Marauders and Marines to hit the floor. When they do, they all stem, push in, take out 2 more stalkers. You see back at the main base, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gateways, just constantly churning out units. killerKoala running a little bit low on resources right now, but Butcher's successfully floating a significant amount more. Another Marauder on the way, Immortal on the way. That's going to do wonders against the Marauders, but unfortunately Butcher has to withdraw right now because that Immortal is going to come out of the main base. He's going to give killerKoala enough time to clean up the 2 proxy pylons that are positioned pretty much right out in the open. None of them are hidden or anything like that. I don't think Butcher expected to get pushed back at the level he did. However, he's doing the right thing. He's spending the money he has to grab a Nexus. He does have a large force right now, but what he doesn't have is sentries. He's starting to get out 1 right now. They're so gas heavy, and that gas could be spent on other units such as this Immortal. But sentries are so powerful if they've been out for a long time, because they get that energy accumulated, and then those multiple force fields, 2 force fields right down here, can cut the army from killerKoala completely in half. And he knows exactly when they're going to come because of this observer. Sentries are so cheap and so powerful when you look at what they can do, and what they can do is cut an army in half instantly, just like what they did right here. A couple Marauders go down, a couple Marines. It wasn't exactly half of an army, but it did deny killerKoala his ability to continue aggression, and it bought Butcher a couple of more minutes to get out another sentry, to get out another force field, and get out more units, as well as finish off this expansion, get that saturated, catch up a little bit on the economy. killerKoala biding his time at the front door. No new units have gone down. We can see a CC is going to be built at the natural. killerKoala gets into position to take down these destructible debris, at the same time checking to make sure that there wasn't a hidden 3rd that he didn't know about. You can see he hasn't scouted either the 4th or the 5th on the mini-map, but it's still good to know that you've successfully contained your opponent. Destructible debris go down. At the same time, Butcher pushes out. For whatever reason, he has not kept his observer on the main force. Instead, he has it somewhere in his main base. Oh, you know what? I believe it went down to his scan. I think I just barely caught that out of corner of my eye, and I was wondering why he was scanning it, but he must have scanned his main force. killerKoala must have scanned his main force, taken out an observer, hidden his main army, and taken down the destructible debris, and managed to sneak into the expansion. So that's an excellent play right there. And he's basically destroyed Butcher because his army was completely caught off guard with its inability to retreat back up to the high ground to throw down a single force field on the door. Butcher loses his entire standing army to killerKoala, and killerKoala can just stem one more time, come up here, take out that single immortal, and push into this main base, taking out infrastructures as he goes. With the expansion finishing up for killerKoala, he's going to be in a very strong economic lead, and his army was incredibly intimidating right now. Hats off to killerKoala for taking down the observer. Like I said, those things are incredibly powerful, and if you can successfully deny your opponent's ability to scout, you can expect them to make mistakes because they have incomplete data. I enjoyed casting this. Thank you, killerKoala, for posting this. If you guys have a comment, you could leave me a comment on YouTube or Reddit, or you could message me on Reddit if you have a game you want me to cast. Otherwise, I will see you guys later. Bye.